You had quite a wild experience. I mean, those early Vula days were intense, crazy. Was there ever a moment during those days that you thought, what the heck did I decide to do here?
I mean, from the first challenge, I mean, it was very clear to us that we were going to have an uphill climb, and you think, crap, this is real, and game on. Let's see what we can do.
The third tribal,
Yes.
historic, absolutely insane. I mean, first we have Mary safe. When in there, did you notice that there was only two votes? Was it hard to tell?
So I'll tell you what's confusing is like I write Say's name down twice, and the reason I knew going in that I was not going to write Justin's name down. Like I just could not, because of the conversations that we had had prior to that moment. I would not write his name down, and so it did not matter because I knew that I was not going to write his name down.
And so after it is opened up to basically you have to decide. I
Yeah,
mean, first when you hear that, like
your
what
stomach sinks.
pressure?
Your
Yeah.
stomach sinks. Absolutely, absolutely does. But here's what you don't see in the show. I think we've gotten a lot of online chatter about, say, cried, Cedric kept. He was manipulated. And in reality, and I've talked to Sid about this, so I'm saying nothing off the record here, is that I saw a very different story in front of me. I saw a person in pain. I saw a person that was hurting. And I saw a person having a mental break. And in a moment that was similar, not exactly the same, but similar to the Joe Eva moment, I saw a person that needed to have a human touch and a human connection. And I said during Tribal, I said, Jeff, this moment transcends the game. I was highly concerned had there been any trauma, had there been any issue with, say, prior to this moment, me sending her out like this would not be good for her. And I
Mm.
was concerned about her ability to be able to bounce back from this moment. And I made the decision as a human being, looking at another human being, that she could not, we're all going to potentially leave this game,
Yeah.
but I can't let the way she leaves be like this under this setting.
Right, right. So that was your feeling and decision making in that moment.
I saw someone hurting. You can't look
Yeah.
at somebody's heart and somebody's pain and look away because it's a game for $1 million. It was more than that. It was this person needed someone to support her in a way that I could in that moment that would potentially allow her to leave this game without added trauma that she'd carry for the rest of her life.
So it's hard to kind of tell the relationships in those early days. Were you feeling like Justin was your number one and then maybe say, and it
Mm-hmm.
kind of went out from there?
Yeah, so I will caution you that there are 19 different realities on this cast. And the producer, the 19th, is that's the version that the audience gets. It's that omniscient. But the reality that I brought into this moment was that the first conversation I had was with Justin. Kevin was out doing the journey, getting the pot. And initially, after Justin and I talked, I saw Say. And I'm like, we already know we're good. In that conversation as well, we knew Justin says, I think Kevin wants to work with us. So the guys alliance was solidified first, and then we brought Say on as that fourth number. And
Hmm.
those relationships in between that were primarily with me, Justin, me, and Say, and those are the two primary alliances that I
Then we get to this Bianca tribal.
had. Yes,
You are literally given information at the very last minute that
yes.
Bianca doesn't have her vote. What was your thinking from there?
So it was not the same as Justin. There's been conversation that says, "Oh, you don't have a vote, you're getting voted out," according to Cedrek. And I'm not that simple. It's not. I'm not monolithic in my thinking, right? In that moment, Justin and I had already built this connection, this loyalty that was broken with him not having the vote. And then there was the say element that we talked about previously. With Bianca, as she says in her interview, that she wanted to build that. It had not been established. And in fact, she's not a manipulative person, but in that moment, it felt more manipulative than actually wanting to build something.
So when did you tell Chrissy? When I spoke to Bianca, she was like, I was watching him.
She
He
was.
couldn't have time.
She was. So they actually gave us a little extra time because I said, I just got some new information. Can I? And so they gave me a little extra time. And it was typically, we're all sitting around each other. It wasn't just that I wanted to tell Chrissy, I wanted to tell somebody.
Yeah.
And so Chrissy was the one that saw my eyes and saw the motioning that I was giving her. And it wasn't until we got to tribal and they hint at this with us looking at each other. It wasn't until Chrissy says, I'm following my gut. I know what I need to do, that I thought she had it. Up until that point, I was thinking I may have to make this a live tribal. But once she said, I'm following my gut, I said, Chrissy has it. Because I'm looking at her in tribal, giving her an eye, and she says, I got it. I'm like, okay, we're good.
Wow. So it wasn't like a full-on conversation where you could
No.
explain the details you were just trying to allude and she picked up
It
on it?
was it was the like it was a lot of that. And even during tribal, there was a lot of that going on as well.
Wow. Okay. And was there another element? I mean, you weren't super close to Bianca, but was there also an element of like save say?
Well, this is where I think history vindicates. When you watch the show, it vindicates my thinking because up until that point, Bianca says, "Hey, my guys at Logging, they're going to want to work with you." Chrissy and Mitch love them. They're also saying, "Hey, Siva guys, we want to work with you. They're going to love you. They're going to work with you." And as we see from the show, they don't want to work with me. And so I had enough foresight and awareness to know that if I'm going into the next stage of this game, say my relationship, what you're seeing on the show, you're seeing the bumps, right? But there was so much more than that that you're not seeing. From even day one, she tells me, "Hey, they're talking about you. They want to get you out. Stephanie Mary voted for you. They want to get you out." So they're not showing the bond, howbeit sometimes messy and chaotic, and there's some elements of, do we trust each other? There's such a full rounded, multi-layered connection that was actually present that went into me making that decision as well.
So going into this tribal, we don't see any conversations with you and Mary. What is your relationship with her at this time?
So Mary's been through a lot, right? I mean, Mary played a shot in the dark. Her name was written down a bunch. And I was aware enough to know that Mary wasn't trying to work with me. Like
Mm,
there was really no world in which I believe we had conversations about, okay, let's get Vula back together. But I knew Mary was done. Once she escaped and she saw David and she was like, I'm out. And I don't blame her. And so that wasn't something that was surprising. We had surface level conversations, but I knew. And I knew the minute we drew the rocks, what direction this was going to go because I was aware enough of the relationships that I was seeing in front of me. And as much as I didn't want to believe it, I felt it, that was what was going to happen.
So if you're a little nervous, did you consider playing your shot in the dark at all?
That's the one thing I didn't even think about. I did not think about playing the shot in the dark. Um, Part of that cloudy thinking was layered by the fact that when we were at day 14, I've not won much of anything. I've had a hard pre-merge. I think emotionally, and kind of leading to that conversation with Star, I was spent, and I think it clouded sort of my thinking at that point. But I definitely knew which direction those folks were going to go.
So in that moment when Jeff snuffs your torch, how
Mm.
does it feel in that moment?
It's a moment that you've seen so much on television, and you're like, wow, this is happening to me. I mean, it's the
Mm,
same as like the maroon or getting there. And each challenge, like I made myself frequently stop and say, let's pause for a moment, take this in. You're on Survivor in
yeah.
freaking Fiji, and it
Mhm.
was one of those moments like, oh, this is happening. I'm leaving the game, and you kind of. My wife asked me this last night. What was I thinking? I kind of blacked out. I mean, I don't really know all the thinking, but I remember just being like, I'm watching this happen, but I'm also standing there while it's happening. It was very interesting at that moment.
I have to imagine watching the show and then playing it. It's got to be completely different. Was there anything that surprised you actually playing the game?
It is a big game. The pieces are big, the people are big, the personalities are big, and it moves fast and it doesn't stop. It's incredibly cold in Fiji at night. I mean, all these are all the things that you kind of don't think about until you're in the middle of it. But that's the way life is, right? I mean, life happens, and you're like, wow, this is the way. I have a kid now. I got a new baby. Wow, this baby I'm responsible for. That's called life.
What was the highlight of this whole experience for you?
Jeff says it all the time. He says, the game is the lure, the experience is the prize. And
Mm.
just having the experience, I am deeply and immensely grateful for just seeing it from the beginning to the middle, and now getting to see it even through the end as a jury member. So I get to have that experience as well. So it's just the experience is just, it blows my mind away. And I have no words about how grateful I am for that.
Well, it was lovely to watch you, and I really appreciate your time today.
Same here. Thank you.